Welcome back to the show, and today, my friends, we're going to be breaking down which of the upcoming first and third party games we're likely to see star in the newly announced Xbox and Bethesda showcase, which is set to take place on the 12th of June at 10 AM Pacific time, just a few short weeks from now. According to the blog post revealing the event, the showcase is set to feature titles being developed by first-party Xbox game studios, Bethesda, and a number of third-party studios based around the world. And you know what that means, right? It means that we've once again hit that magical time of year when streamers, YouTubers, journalists, and fanboys come together and compete to show the world just how wrong they can be in their predictions. And I want to be part of that sweaty community, so here's a quick video laying out what I, your Imperious leader, am expecting to see from the showcase, and equally importantly, what I'm predicting will be conspicuously absent. But for now, let's get the predictions started with Starfield, the upcoming sci-fi RPG, which is being helmed directly by the Golden God Todd Howard himself. Now, Starfield is set to release later this year on the 11th of November, and we are yet to see anything of the game beyond a bunch of artists' renditions and a short teaser trailer that showed us the interior of what we assume to be the protagonist's ship. So I am definitely expecting to see a hefty slice of gameplay during the Xbox Bethesda event. And once that's done, I'm also envisioning the Toddster walking on stage with his terrifying age-defying face and taking us through the key exploration, combat, and RPG elements of the game. Along the way, we can also, of course, expect a massive lore dump that'll flesh out the world and give us a real understanding of what the Starfield universe is all about. Beyond that, I'm hoping to see the perfect balance between escapism and realism in the sci-fi basing of the game. There will, of course, be elements which are fantastical and impossible due to the fact that it is, at the end of the day, a video game. But I was a science writer for 5 years before this, and I've really appreciated the practical feel of the ship and the equipment. It's all super believable, and I'm really hoping to see that theme continued throughout. That said, at the end of the day, we're all basically just looking for Skyrim in space, and that's going to be a hell of a tall order to pull off. One of the major issues surrounds how massive they're going to make the game and how they treat the player ship in terms of the travel mechanics. Too much of an emphasis on piloting the ship will inevitably mean that the map is going to have to be huge to compensate, and the danger there is that this could result in the game world feeling sparsely populated, which was the ultimate problem with games like Elite Dangerous. But that said, Starfield is at its core a role-playing game, so I'm hoping that it's going to be more directed than that. To be honest, I wouldn't be upset if the ship was simply used as a way of moving quickly between predetermined landing points, and once set down, it's simply going to act as a base of operations for the player and a social hub for the NPCs that you can hopefully interact with and recruit along the way. So yes, there are a lot of questions to be answered, but if Todd and the team over at Bethesda Games can bring that special sauce to bear on Starfield, then it could be a truly magnificent game, and we're going to be able to make a pretty good judgment as to whether that's going to be the case in just a few short weeks from now in July. Moving on, we'll also almost certainly get a deeper look at the co-op vampiric shooter Redfall from Arcane Austin, the developers of Prey and Dishonored. Redfall is currently slated to launch in the summer of this year, so we can definitely expect to see a decent slice from the gameplay and hopefully a good description as to how the different playable characters and their unique skill sets work and complement each other. Which you can also bet that we're going to get an extended look at the gameplay for Senua Saga Hellblade II, which had a strong showing at the 2021 Game Awards, so it would be great to see a solid chunk of gameplay there and, of course, a release date. I think it's also possible that we could see another short teaser trailer for the upcoming Indiana Jones game along with a title reveal. And this is another ex-ZeniMax Media Studio game that I'm super excited for. I was raised with the OG Indiana Jones movies, and it's encouraging to know that Todd Howard, who is known to be working as the executive producer for the project, will have a strong cast of characters and potential storylines to explore as he and his team go about creating this new gaming series. But let's be honest, we're basically looking for an Uncharted level of quality gameplay just set in the indie universe, and I can't work out whether that's going to be super easy to pull out or really freaking difficult, but regardless, we're sadly still likely a pretty long way away from seeing any actual gameplay. That is, unless they pull something incredibly unexpected out of the bag come summer. Speaking of not seeing actual gameplay, I really don't think it's likely that we're going to be seeing Fable this time around. I mean, we've already been given the CG trailer treatment when the game was first revealed back in July 2020, and I think that the next time that Xbox shows the game, they're going to want to come with some actual gameplay footage in the back pocket, or fans are going to start complaining about not actually being shown the game and making noise about vaporware and development issues. and I just can't see that the developer Playground Games is going to be in a position to show off anything approaching polished gameplay on June the 12th. So no, I don't think we're going to be seeing Fable, and if we do, it'll likely just be another CG trailer that maybe reveals the main character, but again, in my not so humble opinion, I really think it might be better for Xbox to just let it lie this time. Similarly, I doubt that we're going to be seeing Everwild given its storied development issues, and I wouldn't expect to see anything from The Elder Scrolls 6. It's just too far out and the emphasis is on Starfield right now. And I'm going to be sitting directly on the fence as to whether Perfect Dark is going to show up at all. I do, however, have high hopes that we're going to get a fresh look at Avowed, including some gameplay and maybe even a release window. And this is the one that Xbox fans are really desperate for some new information on. Obsidian has a track record of making excellent games, and the Skyrim vibing, high fantasy, Balrog door-toting, glowing sword-wielding, magic hand-on-fire trailer hit all the right notes when it premiered during the 2020 Xbox Games Showcase. We know that it's fully open world with a medieval setting. We know that there'll be skeletons and other supernatural enemies, and we also know that magic, oaths, and royalties are the key elements of the game world and the overriding plot. We also know that it's going to be an Xbox Series X and S gameplay exclusive. But frankly, that isn't enough, and it feels like it's time to show us the goods. I want a trailer that'll give us a wider idea as to what is actually going down in the medieval world of Eora where the game is set. And it'd be great at the very least to get some broad stroke notions as to what the gameplay and combat mechanics are going to look like. Finally, it would be incredible to see a release window for this game, but I realize that at this point I'm getting pretty optimistic. And to wrap it up, I think we're going to need to see a big one more thing kind of announcement to put a bow on this baby. Now that could easily be Avowed or a number of the games that I've mentioned previously in this video, but me personally, I would love to see the reveal of Wolfenstein 3 from Machine Games in this slot, because there are precious few experiences in gaming that are quite as satisfying as brutalizing Nazis. And no one, simply no one, does it better than William Joseph Blazkowicz, the beefcake protagonist of the Wolfenstein series. So I'd love to see that Blazkowicz family return for one final over-the-top, explosive, gory act that would give a satisfying conclusion to the revenge-fueled saga unfolding in that dark parallel universe. Of course, State of Decay 3 could also fit in that slot, but we don't know how far along they are in terms of having something polished to present. But of course, those are just my takes on the more obvious games that could appear in the showcase. There's always the potential for some completely unexpected announcements, and I want to know what you're hoping to see. I'm talking wildest dreams bucket list reveals here. Me personally, I want to see what Hideo Kojima's been working on with Xbox, because it's never too early for that man to announce his next project. I mean, with Hideo, you basically expect to wait at least 3 years from the point of reveal to the point that you're actually able to play the game. It's just par for the course. So with that in mind, I'd love to see an early Death Stranding style teaser for whatever is coming next. I'm talking Guillermo del Toro huddling under a bridge while being hunted by undead soldiers led by Mads Mikkelsen levels of confusing obfuscation. Just an absolute Miyazaki-grade swamp of conflicting ideas and themes for us to chew over in the inevitable radio silence to follow. And that's it for my nonsense list, so let me know what you're hoping to get from the Xbox July event in the comments section below, and feel free to come back after the presentation to point out everything that I got wrong, because let's face it, you're gonna do that anyway. In the meantime, be sure to keep your ear for all the biggest news, reviews, and reactions from around the video gaming industry.